10 News is brought to you in high definition exclusively by Harper Auto Square. WBIR 10 News starts now.
Hello and thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Heather Wallaga. Right now, the University of Tennessee Board of Trustees will consider appointing former Republican gubernatorial candidate Randy Boyd as interim president of the school system. Boyd is UT Knoxville alum and could serve as interim president for up to 24 months. 10 News reporter Mark Salinger is here now with more. Mark?
Heather, Randy Boyd made improving education a key issue in his failed bid to be Tennessee's governor. Now he's in line to be the interim president of the University of Tennessee system. The UT Board of Trustees will meet next Tuesday to consider appointing Boyd as interim president. The news follows the announcement Monday that current UT system president Joe DiPietro will leave in November. Boyd previously served as Governor Bill Haslam's special advisor on higher education, helping to increase the number of Tennesseans with advanced job skills and training. Now, this afternoon, we expect to hear from UT Board of Trustees Chair John Compton. He will take questions from the media at 2 p.m. and we'll stream that on our Facebook page. And we'll have more from him tonight on 10 News. Heather.
All right, Mark, thank you.